Hiya, I'm back and I've laid on a bit of a banquet for us. The reason for this is due to so many posts I've been seeing on Facebook and various other media sites about guys really struggling to eat when they've got a moustache. So there's a lot of images going around, memes or memes, I'm not sure how you say that, with the eating half a moustache when you eat your sandwich kind of thing. And for me, I find that weird because I don't really have that problem, and considering I've got the potential for it to get in the way, I just find it interesting that other guys are having this problem. So I thought I'd put together a few tips that I've picked up along the way and that hopefully will help you when it comes to eating those troublesome foods. I've picked the ones that I find particularly difficult. You may have others, please let me know and maybe we can work something out and I'll put another video together. What I'll do is I'll just break it down into a few basic things that a lot of guys struggle with. It's down to preparation, to be fair. So yes, it helps if you've got a napkin or a piece of tissue with you, but really it comes down to the simple fact that you've got to learn a new way to eat. The opening that the food is going to go in is obviously considerably smaller because of the hairs hanging down. And so we can't really bite with our lip anymore. Now, you would take food off of a spoon or off of a fork, you would tend to close your mouth. You can't really do that when you've got a moustache, because in doing that, the tendency is for the hairs to get trapped either inside your mouth, which is awful, uncomfortable when you end up sort of flossing with your own moustache, or as the food comes back out, or spoon or fork comes back out, it drags the moustache through the food and you get all kinds of debris all over the place. So what we're going to look at is a couple of basic tips. It's a weird one, but I came up with this little thing a while ago, and it was inspired by a Hollywood actress, believe it or not. So the way I eat my food with a moustache is based on the way a certain Hollywood actress smiles. She's got a very distinct smile. She's an English actress. And she tends to show her teeth when she smiles in a kind of sort of this kind of look. Now that's inspired me to call this technique the nightly bitely. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try and raise our, curl our upper lip upwards as we go to eat, and that actually lifts things out of the way. If you don't really know what I mean, just have a look on the internet at Keira Knightley's smile and you'll kind of get what I'm going on about. So yeah, the nightly bitely, that's the thing you've got to remember. In doing that, what happens is we tend to open our mouth like this, which lifts the hairs up out of the way, and the angle of attack, so rather than coming straight in at your mouth, you kind of have to come up and under as well. So we're going up under the hairs and lifting the hairs backwards out of the way. That goes with any bite, so if you're taking food from a spoon or fork, if you're eating a sandwich, whatever you're doing, you need to roll your top lip upwards and obviously open your mouth as wide as you can. The other factor is the size of the stuff you're putting in has to be smaller, so you have to work out a way of manipulating your food better so that you can get it in with less trauma, less damage and ultimately less debris about your face. So the thing that I struggle with in the morning is still an issue for me, so I'd always have a tissue, is a bowl of cereal. I tend to put too much milk in, so that's probably the biggest problem. So lessen the amount of milk you put in there would probably be a good move. But in taking the cereal off the fork, off the spoon rather, wouldn't want to be eating it with a fork, try and drain some of the milk off by tilting the spoon into the bowl. If you've got a really big beard, this is a good tip if you've got a really long beard. It works for soup or anything else that's quite messy. Tuck your beard in your shirt. If your beard's not quite long enough for that, but long enough to get in the way, sometimes just to hold your hand here as you take your food will actually help massively, so it's not going to drip into your bowl. So remembering the nightly bitely with the lip and the spoon, as you angle the food to your mouth, you just want to roll the spoon away from your face like this, rather than tipping it in so that the milk's obviously going to tip downwards. We actually tip the spoon slightly where it's only a small thing, and then we take the food off the spoon with our teeth, not our lips. So, and there we go. Apologies. So that's one thing we can do with cereal, with milk, and with soup. Works particularly well. Move that to one side. Another thing we often have for breakfast is toast or crumpets, something like that. So here I have my piece of toast. It has marmalade on it today. Now we could try and eat it like this, but this is quite difficult. So you actually need to learn one tip when it comes to stuff like this, when it comes to bread, so that's sandwiches as well. The triangle shape is your friend because you can go point in. It's a smaller point of entry. So taking the first bite leaves us this shape, as we can see here. And you take the other corner. And now we have this shape here, which we can then bite off, small bite, using our teeth, not our lip. Remember the nightly bitely, guys, you're going to love it. It's about the teeth, not the lips. So there we go. So that simple trick of cutting it into a triangle shape makes it a lot more effective. So the marmalade's not gone anywhere near my moustache. The other thing you can do, it's good if you're in a hurry, if you're on the run, is obviously just to fold the food in half, fold the toast in half. When I used to have just the moustache, I used to actually eat my toast upside down. But if you've got something very runny, the potential there is for it to obviously fall off. In folding it in half, we obviously can then keep the gooey stuff on the inside. Same technique, we'll still go with the point, and work our way around. So yes, that's breakfast. Where should we go to next? So we'll go lunch, I would imagine. So for a sandwich, right, this is the thing that most people say they struggle with, just a regular sandwich. So whatever filling you've got in there, obviously the messier, the harder it's going to be to manage. So you can stick with the triangle shape and try and work your way around, trying to hold the thing together, you know, when you've got bits of lettuce or mayonnaise or whatever falling out of it. The easiest thing you can do is use your fingers. I heard guys saying they eat the sandwich with a knife and fork, but it just seems a bit backwards to me. Simply just break a small bit off, pop it in. You know, you've got complete control of what you're putting in your mouth. You can place it in with your fingers rather than this big old thing trying to get in. Really simple, very effective. Excuse me. Nice. Right. This is the thing that does me an apple. Absolutely kills me. So the problem with the apple is because you have to open your mouth quite wide to get the bite, and often the lips can get in the way. So it's a good idea to get into a practice of before you eat, just tuck and roll the centre hairs up and out of the way. But with an apple, you need a point of entry. So trying to eat round it's quite difficult. Now I found this little trick. So you use your top teeth, think like a beaver sort of taking the bark off a tree or something. Very gently lift the skin with your top teeth off and then cut a channel down. Okay. So now we've got this little sort of cleft or this little valley in the apple, and that's our in. So from that point on, we can then use the nightly bitely technique of the teeth, not the lips, and kind of claw with our teeth and pull rather than actually close the bite. And that way you can eat an apple, and every time you take a bite, you're exposing another sort of triangular point. So wherever you go, you're always creating that new bite point. You can work your way all the way around the apple. Eat the whole thing if you're that way inclined. You can eat the core. I know some people that do. So that's the apple really. That's quite straightforward. I quite like that technique. So we've looked at how to crack your way through a sandwich. The same technique applies really for a pizza. So a pizza slice, we probably all do it and don't realise why it's so easy. But the pizza slice is obviously a nice triangle. And what we tend to do is we'll fold the pizza and just bite the small triangular point and work our way through. By folding it, you're keeping the the gooey stuff, the sticky, dangerous food stuff for the old moustache on the inside. So it's a lot easier. The dough on the outside kind of protecting everything. So that works really well. I'm not going to eat that because I'm getting a bit full up. As I said, keep a napkin, because if you're eating your sandwich with your fingers, you're obviously going to need to wipe your hands a bit more. Always a really good idea to make sure you've got your comb. I have a different one for my moustache and a small pocket comb for my beard. And that way, if anything does go in there, you can just quickly sort of comb it out. Any stray hairs can obviously be lifted out of the way. Not that I need to, but I just do that to show. So there we go. So we're done there. I posted on Instagram yesterday, I think it was, how to eat a cupcake with a load of frosting and icing. It's a very simple technique. So if we imagine that the cupcake's got all the frosting and icing on top. Now if you go to bite into that, that's all going to go in the moustache. So what you do is you break the bottom of the cupcake off and then put it on top so it becomes like a little sandwich, and then you can eat it quite easily. That technique you can apply to lots of different foods, and you'll see it when you see the food. So the technique kind of reveals itself to you. It's quite simple. So we've done pizza, toast, sandwiches, some fruit, the apple, which is my absolute nemesis. Looking at things like burgers and hot dogs, you've really got to use the finger technique. So you're gonna, rather than trying to cram a massive hot dog into your mouth with all the sauce and everything, one technique is to obviously try and eat it upside down. I'm not really convinced that works. I've heard guys saying it works, but if you've got onions, they're going in your shirt and in your lap, so that's not particularly cool. But again, if you are able to break a small piece off and place the small piece on with your, very nimble fingers, you're much more success. You're going to not sort of spill stuff all over the place. You're going to retain a bit more sort of class and gravitas rather than some animal with ketchup all around his beard, which is not a good look. So that's kind of the food. The nightly bitely technique works really well for ice cream. I haven't actually got any, but maybe I'll do that for you at some point to prove it. But it's prep work. So we're going to roll the moustache out the way. Make sure if there's any beard hairs, I should have said that earlier, if you've got chin hairs down here in your soul patch area that kind of want to poke up, obviously just tease them down a little bit before you eat. That's pretty straightforward. So we're going to go on to drinking. Now, when I'm at home, I tend to use this mug here, and I've posted pictures of it on Instagram and on Facebook. This cup's by a company from England, a handmade slipware mug or cup with a built-in moustache guard. I probably can't show you too well, but there's a little moustache guard here. You've probably all seen them anyway. This is fantastic. It's a nice hefty piece of kit. It feels quality, keeps my tea nice and warm. They come in left and right handed because obviously the position of the guard needs to change depending on how you're holding the cup with what hand. These work very effectively to keep your moustache out of your tea or your coffee or whatever you're drinking. So the little moustache guard there working to keep the hairs out of the way. Now that's a fantastic thing for when you're at home, and I always use that when I'm at home, unless it's obviously needing washing up or I'm on a bit of a tea mission, I need another cup of tea quick. So that brings me to this thing here. It's got it on top of this cup. I'm hopeful that you can see it. The Whisker Dams. Now they're kind of doing the rounds a bit on all the social media sites. I'm actually selling them myself in the UK. But this is not a gratuitous plug. This is a fantastic piece of kit. The idea's been around for a long time. The Victorians had an idea about this a long time ago. But Jeff in America is making these now, Whisker Dams, hand finished, brilliant piece of kit. Now it's made from copper, and it's literally a flat piece of copper with some lugs either end that crimp onto the inside and outside of whichever cup you want to drink out of. So we can have it on this mug. Okay, not coming off. But the benefit of this one is you can take it out. So if you're going out to the pub or restaurant, or even just have it in your pocket, just in that off chance, you can actually fit it onto any cup or glass. So it will fit on a regular tumbler. So all we have to do is crimp the sides in again to grip the glass. we can get it onto, if we're being classy and we would like some wine, we can put it on a wine glass. Thank you, sir. Or if we're out with the boys and we fancy a beer, we'll go on our beer glass. And if we're even settling in, a little nightcap, and we fancy a little scotch, we can pop it on our little scotch tumbler, which I think I'll do just now. Why not, eh? So that's pretty much it, I think. I'm hopeful that you will all embrace the nightly bitely. I'm confident that it will really change the way you look at the food you can eat. There really aren't any limitations other than remembering to prep your face, get your moustache out of the way, nightly bitely, use your teeth rather than your lips, and refinements in the amount of food that you're putting in, whether that be not loading your fork as much or using your fingers to break off small chunks and place them in. So unfortunately, if you're trying to use your moustache as some form of diet plan, I kind of spoiled it for you, I do apologise, but hopefully this will be something you'll enjoy. You'll actually, you know, there won't be that daunting, oh no, I've got to eat ribs, oh my god, I want to go to a barbecue and I need to eat a drumstick, chicken drumstick. Again, don't limit yourself. You can eat these things, you just got to think about how you can get them into your face with the least damage. So stuff that's on the bone, my advice would be to use a fork to remove the meat from the bone. There's no rule that says you have to eat chicken wings or ribs, you know, like this. There's no reason. It's just a nightmare. It's going to be so messy. So use a fork, get the meat off. Use your fingers if you feel the need. Place the food in. Absolute no-brainer, really, for me. So I think I'll leave it at that, my friends. Hopefully we'll see you again very soon. If you do have any comments, please pop them in the bottom for me of the page. Head over to the website as well. See me on YouTube, on where else are we? Instagram and Facebook. That's the other one. Sorry, I can smell my whiskey and it's putting me off. It's rather distracting. So until next time, like I said, if you've got any suggestions of food you want me to try and tackle or ways of getting around it, or any suggestions you want to make, please come to the website and leave those comments and questions. There's also a newsletter that you're more than welcome, and I would love for you to sign up and get involved in. So until that time, until we meet again, my friends, cheers!